Zig coming in at the top of the ring here. Today's guest is George Hartwig. George Furious Hartwig. George, for me, has been many things. Sensei, guitar teacher, vocal teacher, friend, brother, idol. George has been the living example for me that anyone who wants to do whatever it is they want to do, if they're dedicated enough and focused enough, can make it happen and can find a way, no matter what the situation is, to achieve that goal. Me and George cover a lot of stuff here. George has got a lot going on. He's taking the internet by storm, doing a lot of live stream, doing a lot of community building, a lot of connecting. He's got a really cool gratitude, history lesson, per se, of the Mike Nights he started and community he's built happening tonight, which is Friday. Saturday, George is doing another live stream and has got a partnership going on with the Fairview Tavern. And if you order within the certain parameters of the performance, and if you order a certain amount, you get a $10 gift card. All the details on that are going to be posted below. Now, I've been quoting Joe Strummer a lot, and I want to put the context out there. So this is the Joe Strummer quote I keep bringing up. That, let's see, come on, Joe.
And so now I like to say, people can change anything they want to. And that means everything in the world. People are running about following their little tracks. I am one of them. But we've all got to stop just following our own little mouse trail. People can do anything. This is something that I'm beginning to learn. People are out there doing bad things to each other. It's because they're being dehumanized. It's time to take the humanity back into the center of the ring and follow that for a time. Greed, it ain't going anywhere. They should have that in a big billboard across Times Square. Without people, you're nothing. That's my spiel.
So I've been referring to that quote a lot, and I wanted to get a chance to put it out there in its full context. All right, George Hartwig, everybody. What up, dude?
Dickie in the house.
How's it going, man?
Little podcast action.
Little podcast action. You know,
podcast action for the day, man.
Oh yeah. What you working on there?
Oh my God. You really want to?
Okay. Yeah. A lot going on. Jeez.
Thank you for ending a conversation. My wife and I were talking about organization of the house, and it needed to switch to something a little more lighthearted.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, everybody's reacting to this Corona crisis differently, and I look at it and I'm like, dude, I got to. Can you hear me, okay, Dave?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Awesome.
Can you hear me all right?
Perfect.
All right. Well, hold on. We're at the Zig at the Gig podcast. I'm hanging out with George Furious Hartwig. We're in his basement.
Oh man.
Oh. Anyway, so everyone's going about this different. You were saying, and I agree.
Yeah. So some people, and actually we were just talking about this, man, being an open book. You know my wife. You've met her many times, and you know the outside forces are coming in and affecting her energies in a very depressing way, and.
Yeah.
For me, because a lot of my income as a full-time musician is dependent upon, and probably you too, man. I'm interested to see how you reacted to this too. But when DeWine announced all bars closing, I'm looking at that and I'm like, time to get busy, son.
Well, man, you've been killing it with the live game and like being active and being innovative, and a lot of people are kind of like, it seems either A or B, and there's probably C, D, E, F, and G of how they're reacting to what's going on. A lot of it's kind of like, because there's a lot of unknown, so there's a lot of depression, anxiety, and it's hard to like set that fear aside and work on something proactive and
Dude,
try.
cheers. Go ahead, brother. Sorry.
I was gonna say, and what we do as musicians, or anyone who is working with any form of the public, that makes it hard to figure out how to continue what you do. So to find some ways that are proactive, because it's hard enough to do it as it is.
Right. So you go into a place and you have a captive audience of 5, and the rest, the 50 of the rest of the people are like, "Oh man, I hope this guy isn't too loud."
Yeah.
So you, like you said, you take that that mentality, and then you're like, okay, well, I wonder what would happen if I did a live stream, and you're in my mentality, I'm thinking everyone's freaked out.
Yeah.
The last thing that people are going to want to do is Furious George is live now, or Dave Ziggy Dickey is live now, or this band is live now. The last thing people want, they're trying to. I gotta figure out. Oh man, I went fourth store this week and there's no toilet paper. I gotta go out again. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Dude, I was the first live stream I did. I saved it for later, but
Yeah.
I got extremely when you see that little number in the side live, and then you see 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. You can't really see who all these people are, but you're sitting here and you're thinking there's a virtual room in a club where there's 100 people, so to speak.
Yeah.
They're all there, but they're not watching the Browns game, and they're not. Maybe they're talking to their spouse or their people in their groups at their home, but it's an audience. They're all there to connect from the power of music.
Yeah. It's
insane.
Yeah, it's insane. It's crazy. It's really weird how distant but connected that it's making us in some degree. And my friend Michelle Gall started this virtual CLE shows. Have you seen that bouncing around?
I think someone that's not connected to you sent me a link to that.
Okay.
Is she doing? Is she promoting the live stream concerts?
They're like live stream concerts, but Gall came up with the idea and developed the whole thing. With a team, she's doing it now. But she's got this. It's like a live stream concert, but it's not live. You gotta donate to get in. It's in a Zoom cloud meet. So she makes a chat, and like you just donate $1 or $2, and there's like 3 artists, and it's like a singer in the round type deal.
Yeah.
And she asked me to do I did the second one, and like that was right before I got all this hype. I'll definitely send you the info because you should get involved with that.
How was your experience with that, Dave?
That was it was crazy. It was like how your live stream was. Like it was like you realize I'm in my basement, but I'm seeing all these people, and as soon as you do a song, like it's weird because it's like in this cloud meet thing, and someone controls everyone's audio and visual, so they can focus on who's singing, and then when they're done, they bring it up to the next person and they mute everybody else. But there's a chat. And like, so as soon as you get done, you see all these clapping hands and like, oh, I never heard of you before. And like, I was like, this is crazy. I was hyped up for the whole night. Like I just hung out with like 50 people playing in my basement, made $200 with 3 of my friends. And like, it was insane. And so I've been trying to get behind everything Gall's doing with this. And that's why I started doing more of these podcasts. Like I've been interviewing everyone who's going to be on our show to help promote it.
Yeah. Dude, this is because your thing, when we started chat a little bit online, I was just checking, like, hey, how you doing? I saw your happenings in your feed. I'm like, dude, Zig's podcast. hell yeah, brother.
Thanks, man. Yes.
And then on top of that, your natural tendency for unity, community, and like, well, you know me, man. We go back a long way. So like, the biggest thing for me, I kept seeing all this stuff on Facebook. Oh, this is depressing, and the people blowing stuff out of proportion, guys talking about, I only have 30,000 rounds in my house. I guess I'm going to have to go to the ammo store to get 30,000 more. This is a musician friend of mine. And I'm looking at paranoia and I'm like, dude, what can I do? All I wanted to do with the live stream stuff was like, we're very similar in this way. You can't sit still. I can't sit still. Not going to sit here on my hands and go, maybe let's see if this blows over, man. And, maybe things will get better. I'm like, so I looked at my calendar. I'm like, for every gig that I have scheduled, whether there's me playing to this many people and I'm practicing and keeping the musical gears lubricated, or there's 5 people or 10 people in the room, at least we're still doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dude, there's no more time in this little 2-week periods that I've been more grateful for the gift of music. The gift. That's we don't think about it, man. Right? It's like, oh, I gotta lay, dude. On Spotify, for some reason, it took me your album, but I don't have the paid service.
Yeah.
So it came, your album's up there, and then it pushed up another band. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay.
Where's the sea level? So, anywho.
No, thanks for checking that out. I've been meaning to stop by because one of the schools where I teach, so I'm a full-time teacher now. We haven't talked in a minute, and I got 100 and some students, and I do 3 different buildings, and one's in Parma. So every time I'm leaving Parma, I'm like, I want to drop this record off, and I got this little clipping of the Scene article we were in, and I dropped. I don't know if you got to see that link, but I dropped your name in it at the beginning of it at the interview, so I wanted to drop it off for you.
Read it after we get off, man, because I was listening to I was trying to get the Sea Level off Spotify, and I guess if you don't have the paid service, it shows your album, the cover art, all the tracks, but then it took me to some other band, and
Gotcha.
It sounded like a Led Zeppelin cover band, sort of like. Sounded like literally when these days out. I'm like, dude, it sounds like somebody really took that song and covered it. I'm like, that's not
cool.
Dave.
Yeah, that's. I wish. Was it? I'll send you another link of that somehow. But I appreciate you checking that out.
Rock and roll, brother.
Someone keeps sending me stuff. Yeah, you found it. Okay, nice. Yeah. I just kind of going back to the
no excuses, man. I kept saying no excuses. It's the Phoenix. It was the Phoenix. They changed the name.
Was it? Oh yeah. The Phoenix 2.
The Phoenix 2.
For our listeners, George is he's doing a special live stream tonight. I'll probably get this out tomorrow, George, to promote what you got going on tomorrow.
Dude, this is badass what you're doing, man.
But he just showed me a flyer from the Phoenix 2 open mic night, which is where I met you and where I met Cody, and where, at least for me, the musical thing started happening. And what was your journey up till that, as far as music?
Before that?
Yeah, what was it up to that?
Started playing guitar in high school. That was, I'm old. God, I'm old. It's 90s, early 90s. I was a sophomore high school, right? And, dude, as soon as I could play the first 3 notes from a Van Halen song, and I'm looking at the tab, and at first you're like, how do I decipher this code? It's upside down, etc.
Yeah.
As a guitar player, I'm like, this is going to be that moment that sometimes we have. It's like the movies, the heavens open up. But for me, it was like Pac-Man. I feel like I'm way behind in this. I can't learn enough stuff fast enough, well enough. My dad was a full-time musician.
Jazz musician.
Badass jazz musician, man. He tried as hard as he could to push me away. To say, don't do what I do, George. Don't do a career that's going to actually make you money, son. Be a lawyer, a doctor, man. Go to school, get your education. So I did all that. I went to college, got a degree. And all I could think of, dude, through every phase of that, we're talking high school, college, job at UPS, jobs in retail, was music, music. I'm in the wrong place. I should have a guitar in my hand, putting food on my table, whatever that looks like. Because we don't know, right?
Yeah.
Your journey, you know, that success thing where I don't know if you ever seen that. We've talked about this, but for your listeners, it's like you have two ideas of success. If you've never taken the journey, you've got point A, point B, and then a 45-degree angle between the 2 points. If I work this proportionally, I'm good. And in music, it's not. Success looks like
it staggers. It's up, it's down.
yeah, this, okay, we're all the way here, and there's our point. I'm like, oh man, we're almost there. And then something happens that takes you.
Yeah.
Man, why am I doing this? I had many, when I was on the road with Battery, that the Metallica tribute band, we're sitting there with a broken down truck in Georgia. The band's had to pay for the fuel pump for the thing to come back.
Jeez.
The drummer and I almost are getting into a fist fight on how the line for "Sad But True" should be sung, and I'm sitting here in my head going,
"Wait, what?"
No, I'm thinking, you've run into the suit. What series of events in my life brought me
What was the bit? What was it? How are you doing it? How is it not right? It's, you know what I mean? What was his angle on that?
Oh,
yeah. How are you doing it not, I guess, not correct in his view?
You ready?
Yeah.
This is it. All right. So in Sad But True, there's on the recording, there's the, hey, and I no longer care. I'm your dream, make you real. And James, the singer, when you do a tribute, you got to get it exact to the album. And I had heard so many live versions of him going a semitone down. So it's, hey. And the drummer has to double me on that because we can't trust the soundman to go, hey. So he's doing. Oh,
I see. That's.
So I'm going, hey, and then he's going, hey, a full tone down. For those of you out there, it's one step on a piano keyboard instead of two if you're just a music fan. So we argued about this. He's like, listen to the record, man. Listen to the record. And I'm like, you know what? And I was stubborn. I'm like, I know how. I mean, the reason I sing and play was one of the first songs I learned to sing and play was Enter Sandman. I know Metallica, man. I know it. And my stubbornness and I let my ego get in the way of, here's this guy who's had this band since 1991. They've toured around the world. They opened for Metallica. They were on MTV, voted Best Metallica Tribute Band. Here comes this douche saying, no, man. I appreciate your contribution to the way you think James is supposed to be portrayed, but let me... Yeah. So, then you know you have a thought about this, and you're like, I'm a full-time musician, but I've got my friends, my family, all this stuff I go home to. Where these guys, Lawrence and Phil, have been doing this, and this is their family. This is everything to them. Yeah. Battery is life. Battery is his family. Like they could have done so many other options. He could have been a studio engineer. He had a degree in studio engineering, but they just. It's the happy accidents of like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to try this and try this. And they came over from Canada having their original band open for Battery because booking agents heard that they were playing Metallica well in America. They're like, we can book you, just play your Metallica stuff and open for the original band. And then the Battery thing just took off.
Huh. That's how that happened? That's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know the origin of Battery.
That's the cliff notes of the
cliff note. Well, there's definitely a thing from stepping back and from a heated argument like that and hearing what they have to say, even if like in like times like this where everything's hectic and everyone's shouting all these different opinions and like everyone's getting panicked on one thing someone says. I think that's a key thing, a key mindset to have, to step back and really just hear what they're saying and hear where you're at because maybe they're right, you know. And that's a musical equivalent of it for sure.
Well, and talking about the jam nights, the podcast or not podcast.
That's what we're doing now. Wait, they opened for Metallica as Battery?
Yeah. So in whenever Metallica did an album of all covers. It
Yeah,
was
the garage one.
Garage Days Incorporated
Yeah.
Volume 1 and 2. And that was, Turn the Page, Whiskey in a Jar was on that.
The Misfits.
Right.
Yeah.
I got something to say. So they decide, Lars and the management of the band, they're like, well, we don't want to do a full-blown tour for this, but we need to promote this album. We need to do something to have fun with this. So they booked 6 dates, six tour dates. And then Lars, because he's a great marketing guy, had the idea, well, how cool would it be if we got a tribute band to open up and play our stuff for the fans, because they're going to want to hear Metallica too, and then we come out and we promote the Garage Incorporated album. So around that whole time, the how like Right Place, Right Time,
Yeah.
Battery had been voted best Metallica tribute band. They had a write-up. This was before all the internet explosion too, so this is all you had on was MTV, newspapers, Buzz, and so MTV had voted in best Metallica tribute band. They had opened for a few nationals at this point, and then I think USA Today had written them up, and Lars or the Q Prime got a hold of Battery at that time and said, hey, you guys feel like touring with us? So as far as I know, that's the only example of a big time act actually having a tribute band open up, do their stuff. And that's part of what started the explosion for them, man, because I don't know if there's even a bigger thing. All 3 of the 4 band members endorsed them with one of them said they take it to our level. That's pretty cool. James Hetfield said it's good to finally hear us live. And, I think Lars said they play our explicit better than we do. I wasn't part of that time, but I think I was Hetfield number 5.
Hetfield number 5. That's awesome. I wonder, like, as a Metallica fan, they'd be like, sweet, they're gonna do this cover album, we're gonna hear some cool stuff, and they're like, wait, there's a whole nother band playing. The opening band's playing them. That would be a crazy experience. You know what I mean? That would be really weird.
That'd be like if you guys, who's your drummer now, man?
It's this guy named Pat Bolin. He plays in the tribute band as well. He does a bunch of stuff. He plays in a Queen tribute band with why can't I think of his name? Come back to me. But he plays in a Queen tribute band. But you haven't met Pat yet.
No.
I think last guy you might have met. Well, you know Jay. We've been hanging out with Jay and doing stuff with Jay.
Dude, seeing you guys, I caught a little bit of the podcast or the why do I keep calling these damn things podcasts?
Because we're doing one.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of what was going on. It was right at a point where Jay he put the camera back on himself and he's like, and I saw you and 6 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, Monday we did I found this really cool. I got these little GoPros, right? And I decked out here. I decked out all this stuff for this art gallery I've been working with, Negative Space.
I've seen your stuff with that. Pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit art gallery, and they got a full stage. And we have these monthly showcases, and I was trying to develop a way to promote these showcases. So what I thought I would do was I would make little acoustic videos of each group, and I would have them come in and do a podcast. So that way they can come see how sweet the space is, get a video and get a podcast that help push the show. And it worked for the first couple rounds I've had it. And then all this happened. But I had it decked out in a way where it wasn't a live stream thing. It was a record, edit, put together, put out type thing. So now I got all this gear. I'm trying to figure out how to live stream it. And I found this really cool program called Switcher. It takes like iPads and iPhones and anything that you can download an app. It's a expensive program. It's like $40 a month, but I got a 2-week trial. So I don't know how many live streams I'm going to do with like a multi-angle thing. But you can
takes it to a different area though, man. You got this guy, and then if you got something on the other guitar player, and then a close-up of the vocalist's face, that's that's for me as a production-minded dude, like letting go of my want to like, I want to make this a great visual, audio, everything experience for everyone. just releasing to the let's keep this real. And when I started doing these live streams, it was like, how could I most closely replicate what I do in a live acoustic show with the requests and giving the song lists out. Found a way to put my song list up online, and so people can go to the link and download that during the show or even before that. But the tricky part is, like, normally they're like, they put the requests in the box or whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I want to see this. Hey man, can you play this? Can you play this? And on my screen,
yeah,
you're playing and da da da. Maybe one person will make 4 comments. Metallica for the win, and then all the other requests are gone. I'm like, you're trying. You're track of all this stuff. You know?
And it's hard. It's hard while you're doing something to see something go by and acknowledge it too. Especially when you're like, when you're here, you want to show everyone what you're doing. You gotta step back, and then you gotta squint and come back and watch everyone watch you read. You know what I mean? Like, it's
but it's not only that, but you're looking at it and you're like, I want to write. I want to make sure I keep track of all this, right? But the acknowledgement part, you're sitting here and you realize it's a different communication medium. If I'm doing this the whole time I'm talking to you, yeah, man. So it's cool. And right now, for you guys out there, I'm not looking at Dave.
Yeah,
I'm just
looking around.
Even though you're not in front of me, man, you're miles away. There's a disconnect as soon as you go.
For sure, when you're not looking at the camera in this your iPhone camera or whatever camera, when you're not looking at it, you're disconnecting, and like that's ruining the like actual like experience of being there and doing it or being at this live stream show. So to like work that and like figure that out, that's a whole nother skill set.
So for all you live concert peeps out there that are just trying to understand this and get this going, number one tip when you're doing it, and it's easier because you don't have people in front of you to look at, just find your phone camera and keep acknowledging your peeps out there, man. Just let them see your eyes. They want your eyes.
Sick. Well, going back to the live stream, you're doing a special one tonight about the journey of open mic nights that you've been through. Like, what I was trying to, so you started by 3 notes of a Van Halen song. What was the steps from there till when I met you at No Excuses, the Phoenix 2?
Okay, so Cliff's notes on that. Start playing. Yeah, okay. Dude, this was a lot like your situation, except the 2 guys that I had the good fortune to be with in my first original band didn't have the same, I want to go forward with this mindset. The bass player, still one of my best friends to this day, one of my best friends since 2nd grade, Keith Murrow. They actually, part of the impetus of playing guitar, the start was, hey man, I know your dad showed you some keyboard stuff. Can you come down and listen to our original song? We put this together, and I'm sitting there thinking, when did you start playing bass? Oh yeah, I do. And Matt Bittner plays guitar, and Mike Buer plays guitar, and we got this guy, shyest guy you'll ever meet, Jim Lacey on the drums. You met Jim.
Yeah, Jim's a cool guy.
And so I'm sitting here, and I'm like, where does this go? We're just jamming. Like, and this is foreign to me because my dad was
structure.
Very regimented. Like, I got to learn a song for this gig, and I'm playing an Italian wedding, George. So I got to learn these 5 Italian standards, and here I am. Here's this guy saying, "Hey man, can we have fun?" So I want to kind of lace this into the jam night stuff specifically. Yeah. So once the 3, we went from a group of 5 to eventually a group of 3 because we started getting more serious about the music. So it got to the point where I'm like, we auditioned singer after singer after singer, and I singing just started out a necessity. I'm like, guys, you know what? It'll be just easier if I sing. And they're like, well, you're already playing rhythm and lead. Like, yeah, but I mean, it's no big deal. I want to do it. You want to do it. Yeah. I want to do it. And you know, my friend, what a blessing and a curse that is, right? Yeah, Dave can do it. Oh, Dave can do everything.
What did that side note in that journey for anyone who's trying to figure out who's in that same situation of like the singer doesn't show up. How do you even begin to a cliff note of how you began on that journey? It probably wasn't a Van Halen song.
No, the singing.
Yeah.
So the singing, I think we had auditioned 7 or 8 singers, and I'm sitting here in my head. Part of it was I put so much time into these riffs and so much time, like this is my heart and my soul. And here comes this guy with these lyrics. Oh yeah, man. The first band's name, Overpowered. That was our name. Hey man, I got these lyrics for you, George. It goes something like this. You allow profanity on your podcast?
Yeah, it's fine. I gotta plug my thing in. I'm listening.
Okay, cool, brother. So he goes, he brings these lyrics in, and he's got the sheet, and the title of the song is called "My Sweet Little Whore."
Classic.
And the drummer's looking at me like, oh yeah, this guy seems like he's pretty metal. I'm like, no, that's not where the song's internal. It's supposed to be here.
Yeah.
The more we went along, I'm like, well, I'm never going to be happy with another lyricist because deep down, I want to express myself that way. I didn't realize it until I had enough people come through, and I'm like, that's not serving the song. That's not serving the song. That's not serving. And then it came in my head. I'm like, well, is anything going to serve the song unless it comes out of your head lyrically? So now you better shut up or put up.
Yeah.
So we started writing original songs. Stuff started moving. Fast forwarding the first jam night experience, and this shaped this guy and how I run stuff. Cleveland Cafe.
Yeah.
Neil Zaza. Shout out to Neil Zaza. Awesome guitar player.
Shred.
Awesome. Still slamming, still teaching. But on this particular day, I hated Neil Zaza. I'll tell you why. Because we came in, we're 3 young, impressionable guys. This is, I think, our first jam night. Cleveland Cafe.
First
Neil
time ever playing out? Okay.
Besides the basement for our friend.
Yeah.
This is my 2 bandmates are nervous as hell, right? They're or what do we do? And my bass player had this ritual. Anytime we'd play out, he'd have to drink a half to a full bottle of Pepto-Bismol.
Whoa, jeez. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what are you doing? It'll just help me, brother. I got to relax. Anxiety, right? So this tells you a little bit why this is too far forward. So we're sitting there, and I see musicians jam night. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. Go to Cleveland Cafe. And this was a place, by the way, near Lakewood on 117th. It's gone. It's no longer. It's over by where that Home Depot and Target shopping center is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A lot of the older folks in Cleveland know that place. Made a lot of memories there. But that night, what's up, guys? We're gonna play our opening set, and then we'll get the jammers up. Okay, so thanks for coming. Imagine you expect 30 minutes of instrumental rock.
Yeah.
45 minutes of instrumental rock. Megan requested that we do Stairway to Heaven. A 20-minute opus instrumental version of Stairway to Heaven. Dude, I now would beyond appreciate this, Dave. I would be like, oh my God, this is like he's playing lead, but the guy was then. I am sitting here and I am burning fire into this guy's body with my eyes. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? An hour and a half later, their host said, hour and a half later, I just like this external crisis. I'm like, time to get busy, son. Let's fire it up. Let's bring it to the peeps. I leaped up. I'm like, let's go, guys. Come on. I'm fired up, right? I'm looking at my bandmates, my bass player, my drummer. If there was, how dogs, when you scold them.
Yeah. Oh man.
Dude, I don't even want to play now, man. Go home. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Let's blow this thing off the stage. So we did get up there.
Yeah.
And my bandmates to this day, they still talk about that as being like an emotionally scarring experience for them. And I remember, dude, my reflections of thoughts in that week in my head, and I swear to God, this true thought, dude. I'm like, if I ever get the chance to do, if I'm ever on that side of the stage, this will never happen to any musician. This will no musician will feel, because you don't know when you host these jam nights, you don't know who's out there. You don't know if it's their first time. If they came out, you see a guitar, and you're like, as a host, the reaction is for some hosts, oh man, I got another guy.
Yeah.
And a jam night, by definition, right? A musician's jam night. You're doing a podcast right now. I'm in your house, man. You invite this guy, right? So, hey, you guys comfortable? You want anything to drink? Oh, the couch is over there. Yeah, we got some some PlayStation action over there if you guys want. Yeah. Oh yeah, if you're new to the place, yeah, come on in. But a lot of times what happens is you're the new guy, gal, you walk in, head down, guards up, defenses up, host avoids. Host looks. We've both been to these kind of nights. So going through, there was a bunch of musical stuff in the middle of that. I eventually realized that my direction was not the same as my bandmates. And I had a period of 2 or 3 years where I didn't do much with music at all because I was so frustrated. And music, I always make this analogy, like the guitar or music is like the significant other, boy or girl, that will never talk back to you, but it will always be sitting there presented to you in the most seductive way. And you always feel guilty for not spending time with her. But she'll never say anything to you. Okay, well, you want to wait 5 years, 6 years? I'm still in the case. I mean, I need to be tuned now, but
Yeah,
that's awesome. The only other thing that I did that was kind of significant in between there is I played in when I was in college, I went through the point of I'm so sick of not doing music. I got to do something. Got back into singing and playing, found a cover band that I had to drive 40 minutes out to the practice. It was in the middle of nowhere in Cleveland. And we were doing good. We did great money, but then we found out that the bass player had he was an alcoholic, and the drummer had an outstanding warrant for his arrest. And it all came for one gig, and then the band was done.
That's the most Spinal Tap way.
Oh, dude, it was so awesome! I swear to God. And in the middle of the show, Dave, this story, I don't think I ever told you.
No, I remember you told me about the cover band, but not this. This is awesome.
They were called Thunder. It was called Thunder. The drummer had the high voice, tenor, so he did like the AC/DC and the Ozzy and the stuff, and I did like the Metallica, the '90s stuff, and it was great. People loved it. The energy was great. Middle of the show, all the drummer comes up to me, dude. Can you do your glycerine? Okay. I'm like, what? Yeah. Get a drink, man. We'll get you a drink. I'm like, what's going on here? They all go out to the van. They burn one. Probably because the van is like a big cloud of smoke. It's in the parking lot. When I'm done, I'm still not in there. And this was the same gig that towards the end, like the bass player just disappeared, and the drummer, they were outside, and I'm like, should I?
Something? You're still on stage. You finished that Bush tune, and then you're like, you notice the cops out.
Outside, the guys are outside. They take about probably 20 more minutes to finish their rituals outside, and I was the outsider. I was the young guy in the band. I was in my early 20s, and all these guys were at least the guitar player could blow Randy Rhoads away with his shredding. This guy, he was in a nationally touring heavy metal band.
Yeah,
it was the most hodgepodge group of guys you could put together. And I was just happy to be singing and playing and fronting the band. So we finished the show, and then at the end of the show, that's when all the stuff went down. And then I couldn't get a hold of anybody else after that. And I'm like, okay, so no more gigs, no more practice. So after that.
How'd that night wrap up when you're done and you go to get paid out from the bar you're at and half the band's arrested?
The drummers girlfriend was the band manager,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So it was really weird, and I'm a noob to all this, right? So the bass player disappears. Drummer is outside with the cops. Guitar player, he's sitting there like I am, and we're just waiting. And then the drummer's girlfriend, good job tonight, you guys. What's going on? Oh, it's fine. Yeah, you guys can just go home. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah. Another story.
Oh man.
Fast forward.
Okay, yeah, back in the loop.
We're almost to our meeting. Go to college. Decide that I've got original music in me, and that I need to either poop or get off the pot with that. I'm like, I got to make an album. Around this time, Reznor was big too. Nine Inch Nails. And I realized, is it a crime if I do everything myself? The drums, the bass, the guitar. Because at the time I was working retail, I was isolated from the musical culture entirely. But I really wanted to prove to myself that I can get an album out. I can say, I want to look back on it for the rest of my life and say that was the best thing I could have done at that time. 3.5 years later.
Oh man.
I think I started learning how to record stuff in 97. Maybe was it not? No, 90, something like that. It didn't finish the album until 2000 something, and I got it up on Spotify. It's still selling stuff. Land of Confusion. My
Nice.
cover before Disturbs came out, but then you fast forward to me. I think I spent about 8 years in retail up to this point. We're at 2006, and I'm frustrated again. I'm like I was one of the number one. I did really well at the job, and the gut wasn't happy. And we've talked about this part, and I send a lot of credit out to my significant other, my not yet spouse then, Katie, because we had a couple conversations where I asked her what do you want to do? She was in the mortgage business. This is before the crash.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to be a homemaker and stay home with the kids and help my family. And then I had the wherewithal to say, well, what do you want to do for a job? I mean, what kind of career? Pretty noble. I mean, I'll have you know that being a mother is one of the most important jobs in the world, and that's why so many children are messed up in this world.
Yeah.
And then do what I wanted to do.
It's point.
I told her, well, I'd love to do music for a living, but I'm in my early 30s, and it's that time has passed me by. I don't think there's really any way for me to do it because Cleveland's an economically depressed town, and we do this with our dreams. We put all of these things in front of us, fears, and these are reasons why, and there were legitimate reasons why. I mean, I had a house at this time, my own house. I had moved out, and I had a house payment and bills and really real grown-up things. And for me, by myself, to just jump ship and say, yeah, I'm going to go do music. Yeah. But because over time, it got to the point where I was almost going insane from the job because to do music full-time, it has to I believe it has to call to you, and I knew it when I met you too, man. I knew it. I'm like, you're doomed. You're
doomed.
It's in you, Dave. It's in you. And I saw it. When I first met you and we started our friendship, I'm like, this guy is on. I talked to all your mom and everybody, because man, we were just babies back then. I'm like. He's going to go through a lot of joy and a lot of. I'm just telling you right now because I think he's in it for the long haul. I think that this guy's music is him, and that's one out of every 100 students that I'll teach. So
thanks, man.
Didkey in the house, man. Everybody, if you're listening to Didkey, support this stuff. It's the way, man. This is connection. That's the big word that I've been buzzing around in my head for the last 2 weeks. Connection.
What is it? I've been on this To put a pin in it, you're doing a real good timeline. With everyone I've been trying to talk to, I'm trying to get a timeline so people can start to know who I'm interviewing. But I've been hooked on this this Joe Strummer quote with it goes, "Without people, you're nothing." And like till like times like this, it's a really true true statement that's been resonating.
So,
But anyway,
no, dude. To add to that, and then I'll because we're up to our part now. To add to what you were saying with that, my dad. The problem is our parents. It's not really a problem, but you realize as you get older, your parents at some point were just screwed up individuals that were trying to figure it out as parents growing up. When you're a child, mother is the name for God and the lips and hearts. They're your window to the reality of the world, right? But I realized that my dad always said the negative stuff about the music business, the late hours. Sometimes they'll agree on X pay, and you won't. If you're in this, don't do it for the money, George. Da 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 da. Talking about playing with musicians that play too loud or show up too late, and all, negative, 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 negative. The only joy that I saw was when he was learning new stuff, or to expand my repertoire, George. And my dad was a hell of a musician, but the biggest surprise to me when I started doing music full time. And getting back to, this is going to connect to Katie now. It was, I got to the point at HH Greg, that was my last job as a commission sales guy, where I went from being like 8th ranked salesperson in the company to being like 22nd in my store. And part of it was I got so frustrated again, the music, come to me, the guitar, in the box, and she says, "It's been so long. And I start picking it up, and then I'm like, you know what, just for the hell of it, I'm going on Scene Backpage, look it up, Megadeth tribute band looking for Dave Mustaine, easy roll for person that knows the parts. And I'm like, easy roll, okay, I remember some Megadeth songs. And then I realized, oh my God, this is literally the most challenging thing you can sing and play in the world. But I looked at that dude and something snapped in me, and I'm like, call him, do it. It just that step that we all have as musicians, that should I don't know, I'm not, am I too good enough, if I had this one piece of gear I could, if I did, you know what I'm saying, all these things put in our way. And I'm like, my mentality for the last 13 years has been book it and figure it out afterwards. Put the date on the calendar and figure out who's going to be in your band
if I feel that's a great way to think about it, because if you have that there, you're going to be proactive to actively address the challenge of that gig or that night, or figure out how you're going to drive there and drive back, or like.
So I looked at how, I could play about 20 songs singing and playing acoustically, and then I started to build that, and I forget how the HH Greg was the North Olmsted one, and I started looking around at the local venues just within a small radius, and the Phoenix was close to that, and I can't remember exactly how. It's all blurry. That was like 2006, 7, a long time ago. But I go to the bar owner, and I established a good rapport with him. I did a couple of acoustic shows, and you remember Jim? He's just laid back, right? He's like, "Hey man, you interested in maybe you should host a jam night with me? I got this guy as a Metal Bob. You guys are really cool." And I'm like, okay, so what? Well, I mean, it's just be your personality. You're perfect for it. These guys that I got now, they're not working for me, man. I'd never host that. That was my first one. That was my first. You want to talk about like figure it out as you go along. So I was doing Degameth, the Megadeth tribute band, and trying to build that from nothing. Doing the acoustic thing and slowly like trying to add to the repertoire for that, and trying to figure out like, okay, in Cleveland, is this possible? And at the same time, one of my friends that worked at, shout out to Bob Bruno, Godfather, Cleveland music scene, Bruno Brothers. He worked at Bruno Brothers, and he's like, you should call my buddy Bob. If you're looking to get out of HH Greg and make a little money on the side, you should try teaching guitar. I'm like, teaching guitar, cool. So I started to actually see a business plan, man, for myself. And look, that's the thing. Musicians, if you're listening to this out there, we are artists, and the integrity of our art is prime. But the don't neglect the business side, because you don't want to be left at the end. You want to always have a plan. You want to have, or at least have some game plan of, 1 year, 5 year. That's the way I started looking at this. But at that time, it was like, is it possible to make half the money that I did at my other job and build from that in a 6-month period? And I didn't know. On paper, it looked good, but it was like, dude, it was one of the most scary and most exciting parts of my life. Phase 2, I can call it. And this could be phase 3. This stuff that we're going through now, because this is going to change all the rules for local. For sure. So now we're to us, and so Metal Bob and we start hosting this jam night, and I think did I do acoustic host sets? I think I played a couple.
I think you started off acoustic, because I remember going to the first one with the old crew. Yeah. And I can't remember that guy. I can't remember his name, but I can remember his face and the songs they played. And I remember when you guys stepped in, Bob had like this intro track. It was like a production.
That's right. Forgot about that.
See if you can find that. That would be sick for tonight. If you can get Bob to send you the play at the beginning of your.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna write that down, dude. Because I was messaging him when we were messaging yesterday, and I'm like, there's something that he's got to have intro track.
Yeah, that track was sick. But yeah, I'm trying to think what I was gonna go with that.
So getting up to you, I think the first jam night, I'm done with my host set, and then we get the jammers up, and I realized, okay, well, host, that means you need to be, in my mind, I didn't have examples. I didn't go to a ton of jam nights. I think I went to Billy Morris's live band karaoke once. And he let me play one of my original backing tracks that I sang over, and then we played For Whom the Bell Tolls that they played behind me, which was pretty cool. That was hi-fi, hi-fi. But we got off stage, or I got off stage, and then I can't remember if I started talking to your family or you or what happened, but and there's old. I got to go back and find it for tonight's live stream. It's a YouTube video of.
Oh gosh.
I think you're playing either. It's like we're doing a Hendrix or
I had that flying V. I remember I had a flying V, and we did Hey Joe, and Cody sang it.
And my friend, spoiler alert. So, dude, this is great. This is so awesome. I wish that this could like kind of be before what I'm going to be doing tonight with the jam night thing, because it's literally.
I can try to fart it out real quick, patch it up, and get it up. You know what I mean?
Because it's like literally pick up the story. Because where I was going to start on that live stream was this exact part, the first jam night that I started with. But I'm going, and here's this long curly haired kid, and I think your dad always had a lot. Your dad is one of Mr. Ziggy's best salespeople. Oh, George, man, you gotta play with Dave. And then Jim. Yeah, man. This kid, he plays Stevie Ray. He plays Hendrix. I mean, he rips, dude. You should hear him play. I'm like, okay, cool. And we had I can't remember the dude's name, the drummer guy. He was bald, right?
Yeah. Phil? Was it? I remember he was doing that thing where you, like, pull yourself up on the bar. There's those poles, and he was able to support himself with it. I remember me and Cody would try to do that.
We used him for one of your shows. It was some outdoor festival, I think. Well,
it was Heritage Days or
something like that.
Yeah.
There's pictures of that, and I remember your mom or somebody was watching. No, Kim. She's like, you don't know what to do with your hands when you don't have a guitar, do you? I was just thinking, but
wow, dude, man, I remember that.
I remember just being so it felt so like once I released my job, and that happened very shortly after this. Once because there was a overlap where I was still at my full-time job and really trying to do the music. And part of the reason why my full-time job I dropped to like that low rank in the store is all I would do at the store is look up bars and look up venues to call, try to network musicians. I was doing all this music networking at work on the phones, and my district manager would walk by. Yeah, sounds great. So, I mean, what kind of acts are you looking for? Oh, yeah, no, yes, sir, we do have that. Yeah. Oh, hi, Larry, how you doing? Hello, George. Television? Yeah, give me one moment, sir. One moment. So, and he realized he let me go. That's what actually, George, I'm going to give you two options. You're one of the best salespeople we've had here, but I can either fire you for job abandonment because mentally you haven't been here in 6 months, or I can say eligible for rehire and let you go chase your dream. And buddy, that's what I'm going to do. So George, good luck. And
Okay.
When I walked out of the parking lot, I'm sitting there, I'm equal parts relief and excitement. Like, this is the universe handing you this opportunity on a silver platter, and fear, because you want to talk about unknown, dude, like literally unknown. Can I do this? I'm older too, as you know, I wasn't like middle-aged at the time, but it was like that weird place where most guys, I'm out of college and I'm trying to find my job, and here I am.
Yeah.
Well, I just left a job with a 401k and benefits, and now I'm gonna go into this, and all of my like anybody that had any rational, like if you're a rational person, so to speak. Oh, so you're doing your music thing? How's that little music thing going for you, Dave? It's oh yeah, that music thing. You getting gigs? Cool. I mean, but like, where do you work? Like, what's your full-time job? What's your day gig? And in this town, people don't understand, unless you're an American Idol, or they see you as the perception is reality, right? So you tell somebody you're a full-time musician, they say full-time. Oh, so that means he probably plays gigs on the weekends, is an alcoholic, cheats on his wife, is one of the most irresponsible persons.
Yeah. What was it? I was I was talking with I did an interview earlier this week with Emily Keener, who was on The Voice.
Yes.
And that was an interesting perception of how she was saying how she at 12 she was doing bar gigs. Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah,
what?
Dude.
And then when she sorry.
No, you go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say, and then when she got done with at NBC thing, like she was able to book like ticketed events, you know, like instead of like the bar gig where you were there to fill the void kind of thing and entertain. She was like, people were coming to her, and I was like, how do you do that? Oh, you go on a show like
No, that's what it is, dude.
Yeah.
That's kind of. I'm looking at all this stuff, and I'm gonna kind of fast forward through a lot of stuff. But the jam night, I can't remember how long we went with that. The Phoenix, man, I can't remember that. 2 years, 3 years, maybe.
I remember I got some pictures from the last night. After this, I'll send them to you if I can find them.
Oh, dude, if they have dates, that would be prime. That would be
if it
awesome. It'd be awesome if they have a date. All I need are seasons like blah of 2008 or whatever, because I'm trying to put together the timeline. But
yeah,
when I'm working, I've got the acoustic thing, which is I'm building that, and then I'm working the Megadeth tribute band, which I realize is probably one of the hardest sells ever, because it's an audience of 40 and older and all guys. So like, you know,
limited market.
Yeah. You get like a Disco Inferno versus a Degameth. Which one are you going to go see? You know, especially if your lady's like wants to go out and dress up nice in that age bracket. That's that market. But I realized like, in order for me, it's the same thing with the Keener thing. There's an exact parallel. You have to make your own opportunities, and the more sometimes it's be in the right place, right time, but you won't be in that right place, right time unless you're nailing your nose to the grindstone and practicing your craft and just eating it, just going after it, baby. So like when I when I was MySpace, taking it back, baby, going back to MySpace before that was, that was the big music thing. When one of the ways I learned to market the Megadeth tribute is attach it to other tribute bands of like, Ozzy Osbourne tribute and Megadeth, Judas Priest and Megadeth. But then you associate, of course, Metallica with Megadeth because Mustaine was kicked out of Metallica. And at that time, nobody had ever seen the two bands on stage together except for maybe one concert. So I'm like, I'm not going to go after the local guys. I'm going to look for the biggest Metallica tribute in the world, and I'm going to see where they're playing. And I'm going to try to contact those clubs directly and pitch the idea of a Megadeth band opening up for the Metallica band. The booking agent at Battery caught on to this. He didn't like it very much. Now, George, is this George? Is it? Oh, this is bad entertainment. Please hold. Yep. Hello. Yes, George. Yeah, speaking. Who is this? And here I am in my dingy basement in Parma. Bell's Entertainment booking office service. So that was my first. And funny thing is, I ended up being in that band because 9 years their singer had been in that band, and he finally he said, I've done this enough. I'm retiring. I've had enough of this. They posted it up on MySpace, and I looked at it and I said, that's my gig. I need
nice.
My soul said, this is why my drummer and I practice 3.5 hours of straight Metallica in a basement with no bass player for no reason, just to bleed it out. And when that came up, I had more to think about though. I was married at the time. I had a 0-year-old kid, and here's this band that is offering. Yeah, we go to Virgin Islands and Honduras, Alaska. Sometimes we go to Florida, Texas, and in my head I'm like, tour?
What? Yeah. Which has to be exciting because as a band, like that's kind of, it keeps everything fresh when you can go play your thing somewhere else and network, and everything's kind of new. But if it can do it in a way that's successful and building, there's like a hype to it when you go out and play somewhere and like you meet people and it's a good show and you make a little scratch and come back. What Battery was a different level because they've been doing it for years. So
go ahead, brother.
I was gonna say, so like every night was like not too often was it gonna probably be a miss.
Well, much love to what you're doing, dude, and the amount of stuff that you've, like, Sea Level was built from scratch, and it's 10 times harder to build an original product and keep the faith in that. And we got 5 people at this show, or we got 2 people listening in our basement show, we got 6 people listening to this backyard show, and you just keep hammering forward. You do a tribute band, and I joined a pre-existing product, so it was a very fast track for me, which is what I needed at the age that I was at to boost the resume, so to speak. Like, and I didn't realize that at the time. For me, it was just, I know I have to do this, but I don't understand why. Like, everything in my soul, I have to do this. Hardest thing in my marriage, hardest thing in my family. God bless my wife, who I don't know if you can hear her upstairs. She's yelling.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's all good.
This is so awesome, dude, because this is real. That's probably the 3rd or 4th time during this podcast that she's had.
Yeah, but it's all good.
My love goes out to the missus because out of all of us, she's been affected the most by this crisis because the kids, there's no break.
Yeah.
There's no break.
Yeah, that's mostly what I've been doing is planning online lessons, sending them to parents. So like thinking about what our kiddos are doing, and let alone every other kiddo, and like the fact that some schools they don't know if they're going to open the rest of the year, which is insane.
Fine. I don't even. I was talking with I was messaging back and forth with E-Rock.
Yeah.
Because E-Rock he's the bass player for Wish You Were Here. He's you want to talk about a business general? He plays with Michael Stanley in 2 different bands. He's got the Neil Young thing. He's got Jim and E-Rock. He's an elder statesman in the Cleveland music scene.
Yeah.
The elder statesman as far as that goes, but he's also in a weird position because he's a bass player that can sing very well. But you and we can go on and make a live stream, just Ziggy going live in 5. Boom. You got your guitar there. You got your dobro. You got I'm sure you have 10 more unique
weird thing. Yeah.
Shout out to Ziggy again, my friend.
Wow, shucks, man. I actually did for my online lessons with my students, we're learning, since they don't have instruments, right? Yeah. We're learning about different music cultures. Yeah. And this week's India, and at the beginning of each lesson, I'm trying to convey I'm learning it with them. So I'm taking a theme I know that one of them likes and recording it in that style, right? So last week was Brazil, so I did like a bossa nova with the Loud House theme. I don't know if you've been exposed to that cartoon. And then I did this week I did the Angry Birds on the sitar.
Oh, they'll know that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you're taking stuff that's real to them. They've probably heard this.
Yeah, right. Trying to make it fun and show them I'm learning it with them and we're in this together type deal.
Biggie.
But that's the weird instrument of the day. But you're right, like with E-Rock or like maybe a drummer or someone who necessarily can't just carry a show on their own. The being quarantined and separated is a lot harder for them to be active and try to remain in everything.
So on that, man, this is what I told him, because I thought about this and I was back and forth with him, and I'm like, this guy, as every musician does, let's say you're a vocalist, straight vocalist, you don't play an instrument, you sing with your duo guitar player, or you're a bass player that doesn't sing. Yeah. Or you're a percussionist and you play with 7 different bands. A violinist can be a solo. Yeah. But in his, I messaged him back and I'm like, I just wanted to say that you have more hidden things that I think people would love to hear you express or talk about than you possibly realize. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, with everything, with all of your musical experience, take away, because he's been in the city. He was a radio DJ before all this.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that it's E-Rock.
Okay. Yeah.
Tell me before this is over where, I don't think I've ever asked you where Ziggy came from. So stand by on that.
Okay.
Put a pin in it.
Tim Moon, Queen tribute guy that Pat plays with. Tim Moon. Sorry. All right, E-Rock, he's doing the radio.
Yeah, man. So if you're used to just being on the performance train, and let's say you diversify your interests, I diversify what I do a little bit, but now I'm realizing, like, I've been wanting to do this internet angle for about 5 years, and I've just never given myself the headspace or the time to think about it. But back, talking to him, like, Wish You Were Here has, every time they play House of Blues, they sell it out. That means that there's a lot of ears out there. Not everybody's interested in hearing, let's say, Paul McCartney's backstory. Not everybody's interested in hearing Ringo Starr and how he came up with this few songs here for the Beatles. But I guarantee if E-Rock made a thing and said, some early stories from Wish You Were Here, or my early years at St. Ed's with Jim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if people weren't all tuned into the thing, I think part of this is because I'm getting a lot of people that are coming back and saying, hey man, I just listened to this. This show was cool. And I'm sitting here thinking that as me, you're in your own head. You're just like, okay, it's me in a basement again. But there's something else that the listener or they're looking at more than that, is the experience of, this means something different to me. You know what I mean? So I told him, I'm like, or even cooler, a banter. Like same thing for you and Coda. All your experiences together. Like you do a live video where talking about your early days with him. Like
Yeah. Actually, it's really impeccable timing because tonight me and Cody are supposed to do a podcast and kind of chart everything we've done up until this record and talk about it. And I'm working on that.
or even if you guys get a cool. I haven't seen this yet but I'm looking for it. Like duos, people that have a relationship of working together a lot. Like, hey Coda, I'm just going to shout out da da da, and you have like a thing. You know, we have our unlanguage, the thing that the McCarthy said. Well, I just have a ton. Then you start doing that online. 2-minute live video, and then he makes a response to that. Dave, all you C-level people out there, I just want to say, dude, fill in the blank, whatever. And then you come back again with a response. I don't know. I just see this situation creating a lot of cool, creative content that might not have been otherwise, thought about.
For sure. So, and like people have time to observe it, so you can be more interactive with it. And the fact that this is the platform, how do you get creative with it? How do you and there's 1,000 different possibilities that no one's come across yet. And I think everyone's doing something with it and trying to be active and proactive about it. And the more minds at it, we're going to have some cool stuff for sure.
So 2 things, 2 requests for you, Mr. Ziggy. Make sure you let me know when the podcast is up with you and Coda, and the origin of Ziggy.
That it's not as good of a story, but so it's really not. It's not that great of a story. A buddy of mine. So when I was going to the Phoenix, I was in high school, and a buddy of mine was like, "Oh, Dave, you play guitar. Ziggy played guitar. You're Ziggy." It was just he just nicknamed people. That was like, yeah, if he was a character in a cartoon, he would be the guy that would just name people. And he's like, yeah, you're Ziggy. So he just always called me Ziggy. So I kind of stuck with it. And Zig at the Gig's got kind of a ring to it, and Ziggy D's got more of a zig to it, more of a sound to it than I think Dave Dickey.
That's huge though, dude. It's the same thing with the Furious.
Yeah. I was talking to Brent Kirby yesterday because he's playing on the same show with Emily Keener.
Very talented.
And we were talking about he does a couple of different styles of like gigs and means of work, and he was saying you kind of got to be ready for everything. And then I brought up the Bruce Lee quote that you introduced me to, and I shared it with him, and he's like, "Who said that?" I'm like, "George Hartwig." He's like, "Furious?" I'm like, "Yeah." So things like that, stick out. You know what I mean?
I did credit, dude. This is the other dude talking about Bruce Lee and our mutual connection on that. The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, like Bruce Lee, besides being one of the most badass martial artists, and you probably know this because you know his life, but for your listeners out there, when outside forces create a situation that traps you or puts you in, I think he was going hard and heavy, and he would weight train, he would martial arts train, he was doing movies. I think it was the deadlift. He was doing a deadlift and he didn't warm up properly, and that's what messed him back. The doctor said he would never do martial arts again. And so while he was recovering, because he's like, no, that's not an option. I will do. And they're like, he did, obviously.
Yeah.
But during the recovery period, he was able to get out all of the philosophies that were up here on the paper, and I've been thinking about him a lot, man. Bruce Lee, not only all the quotes and all the awesome wisdom and stuff, but the when we're in this situation as musicians too, we are in the era where we should all be thriving, not just surviving. We should be thriving. And by that I mean the the model where you just go into a club, play for your people, and get paid and go home, or you teach a lesson and you put your time into there, you inspire your group of people that is physically in front of you. You need that. We will always have to have that. But you also need to start digitizing your, if you have something to offer the world, I believe you should start digitizing that, because there's going to be a time where Furious George no longer walks the earth, where Mr. Ziggy no longer walks the earth. And you think about the 5-year plan, 10-year plan. What about the life plan? How do you want to be remembered? And that, to me, is always going through my head. Is the 60-year-old guy going to look back on this guy right now and say, you did everything? I'm proud of you, man. We did everything that we could, and we have no regrets. We tried it, we failed. We tried this, we succeeded, but we hammered everything instead of, oh man, I don't know, as I mean, I don't know if I'm ready, and it's tough. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. Am I good enough? Do I look good enough? Am I? All the
Yeah. No, it's definitely.
Look at this face, dude. God, weather beat orange face. So this guy.
But no, that's 100%. That's someone keeps sending me shit. Oh shit! Did I lose you? Hold on.
I still hear you.
Okay, there we go. No, you're 100% right, and like I think that's a great mindset to be in, as far as even if in a non-challenging time like now, but just to always be proactive and taking everything at the moment and doing as much as you can, and trying things and not being afraid to. And if they leave a mark, they leave a mark. If your cover band ends up opening for Metallica, your cover band open. You know what I mean? Like just going out there and doing it and being in it. Most of I think music or any type of creative endeavor. I got a quarantine brain, man. Endeavor.
That's all of us, baby.
Yeah. As soon as you go out and you attempt to do it, most people realize you're attempting to do it, and like see what you're doing, and hear what you're saying, and like I think that just comes out to attempting to do it, just taking action and following through, good or bad.
One thing I've wondered, amigo, along your personal journey, because your nature is just so positive, spiritual, and good, and the thing that when I first met you, I thank you, brother. Thank you for staying true to the Ziggy, man. When I first met you, I'm like, that was my biggest wish to the universe, was like, dude, please don't let some of the batterings of this business mar your spirit, your soul, dude. And that's what I've wondered with your journey, because we haven't talked too much. We try to keep it on the up and up, but like haters, have you had I can't see you having many haters, or many. I can imagine like business obstacles, or like, oh, Dave, can we just get you next time on the pay, the usual musician stuff kind of thing. But any
there, I'm trying to think, because like I was lucky enough to have you as a role model to like see how it can be done, and like see how to handle yourself in those situations, and how like to how to learn to how to be dedicated and focused and determined to do a thing. So with that kind of installed, like from the rip, I knew whatever I was going to do was going to be a lot of work, and was going to be relentless. And there's a certain level of carrying yourself through that. So with that in mind, even with, maybe there's a couple internet people here and there, or there's a couple people like after a set that'd be like, looks like you're having fun. You know what I mean? Like the classic like that. But you
dude, oh my God, that's sweet. That's great, dude.
But I've kind of found a way to write it off in the sense of like going to, even you introduced me to the Bruce Lee stuff, and knowing that the yin and the yang, that for every good there's bad, and that like installed right at the beginning, and I'm very super grateful to have learned that from you from the rip, because that kind of mentally prepared me for whatever kind of would come. And like there hasn't been too many flops. We got a lot of like, oh yeah, you guys will definitely be at that opening slot, and no response, or you know what I mean, like stuff like that. But like, and
promises.
yeah, and usually when something like that happens, I get all hyped up. I'm like, Cody, dude, we need to like start doing like internet videos. We need to start like developing our own thing because this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? So I try to be positively enforcing from any like negative stimulus or negative outcome of a thing.
Well, remember with the yin yang too, right? Because if you get dude, one of the biggest highs for me was when we went to Honduras. So that was the first time I'd been out of the country. That was the first time I've ever played out of the country. And the way they promoted it was literally like we were Metallica. So we're in this large third floor of this parking. It's the malls. So it's hard to even take a parking garage from any city that has multi-stories. Let's say it has 3, and quadruple the size of the top level. Maybe give it 6 times. It was huge, and then put a backdrop of the Honduran mountains against that, and then put a stage the same size that Metallica would play on, and that's what we're walking into. And I'm looking at, and this was the first time for the band too. The cool thing, I had probably one of the shortest tenures in the band, about 2 years, 09 to 11, but we accomplished a lot. They went to Alaska for the first time. They accomplished a lot with us, and dude, I want to think it was just because the whole band was aligned on finally a positive energy after about the first 6 months of them exercising the demons of whatever the past was with you know, I don't
Hetfield 4.
part about Hetfield. That wasn't part of Hetfield 4.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So it's just but they took it out. They made sure to as an exorcism tool sometimes. But no, it was. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this dude and I'm just like, I can't remember where we swung from this. Oh, the positive energy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm playing, and part of me is going. I started doing this in 06, and this is 2010, and now I'm on a stage in a foreign country with almost no one that knows English, and they're all looking at me like I'm James Hetfield, like I'm Metallica, and I can see how so many like people, like if you guys are in that right place, right time, and you will eventually be, man. If you guys keep slamming it, might take 5 more years, might take 10. If you're all in it for the long haul and you guys choose to do that, but you catch that one ear of that one guy that's got a lot of money or a lot of influence, and he has good intentions.
Yeah.
Sea level, because it's just, it could be from here to here, but the longer you spend building guerrilla style, the way you guys do it, the more balanced you guys are going to be getting to that level of this, where it's like, but it's so hard, right? When you get that, there's that buzz, you're like, oh, dude, we're going to open, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And when that happens, thinking about that yin yang thing, right? It's like, breathe. Remember, this is a moment, a fleeting moment of your life. Internalize it, memorize it, videotape it, store it, appreciate it, but don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, don't remember this. Time to get up and go to work tomorrow, baby. Cody, what are we doing tomorrow for Sea Level? Okay, well, all right, man. How can I make in your case? All right, we got to take care of my kids. Oh, got to take care of this dude. Got to take care of your significant other. Got to take care of your. I see the kitty constantly. That's cool, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to. They keep running around behind me. That's why I keep turning, because I keep like, what's going on? In the cat cave doing the podcast. But yeah, no, that's 100% important. And like, I think it's, I think if you kind of develop from the ground up and it's not an easy road, there's more of a appreciation for people that are going down that same road and have gone past that same road. You know what I mean? Like, for someone who's gone through it or is going through it, it's a lot easier to appreciate going from A to A prime before getting to C or whatever it is. Like, from getting from one spot to the next. And if you kind of just jump the gun and go A to Z, there might not be a appreciation for someone who's done the bar circuit or who's done the DIY tour before they did the venue tour. You know what I mean? Like, who's
Dude,
done the
I never. I look at it. I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at this list, and I don't know if maybe you'll be able to see this.
Let's see.
You see this?
Yeah, it's a pretty lengthy list. I can't read it, but it's okay. And you scroll down, and there's more. Nice. What am I looking at?
Dude, it was exhausting yesterday because I'm going through and I'm like, I realized I had to reach out to all these people. So I'm trying to put together this comprehensive, it's about 13 years of history of all the venues, cohorts, musicians, and jammers, so I can put it into this cohesive live stream show thing on Friday. And it's literally just it's going to be a video of gratitude, of thank you, universe, for everyone. I'm going back and I'm realizing that every one of these people, like you go to do a show, 13 years later, an acoustic show, and so shows up, and this person shows up, and if you allow yourself to think back on the history of, you said it before, what was the quote about people?
Without people, you're nothing. Just play it simple.
Without people, you're nothing, dude. That should be that's maybe the theme of this whole interview, dude. My whole thing tonight, because going back to something I didn't complete with my dad, there's a lot of the negative from him, right?
Yeah.
But I've met some of the most sincere, real, my most dear friends, the more than I would have ever imagined in the music business. Fans, friends, musicians, brothers, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's I'm and the one word that just keeps buzzing in the head is gratitude, brother. It's just nothing but I'm looking and I'm like, memory after memory after memory after memory. My belief with if you're doing music, you've got to, it's like an investment. You have to put so much into it before the returns. It's like this.
Yeah.
Very.
It's like, the input output theory, and it's a slow output. But
you'll put 7 years of work in, and you'll still be looking at, let's say you're let's say you're a songwriter. I've been at this craft for 7 years, and I'm still playing locally. I've played a couple of states here and there, and I have maybe 10,000 followers on YouTube and my
That's impressive.
Well,
you get followers on YouTube. I'm impressed.
Right, no, I'm not talking about me.
I know, hypothetically, but
right, someone taking that for granted, but not realizing that. Well, yes, but you have 100 videos out, whether you're vlogging or of your original songs, and all digitized. All of that content is digitized, so that is sitting there. And if you continue to grow that and contribute with integrity, honesty, and you put it all into there, because people know when you're not real, dude. That's
sure.
The one thing about music, dude. It's the same thing with acting. Like, you can see it in a movie, and you're like, I don't dig this. This is not. I feel nothing from this. If you don't leave it on the stage, and there's, I'd like to say I did it with every gig that I've done in my life so far, but 90%, there's those weeks where it's just like, we're human.
It's hard to get through it for sure, but that's part of it too, to some degree. Is like when you're doing it, when you're doing it full time, you can't stop, and you're always in front of people. So there's gonna be nights where you're like, all right, bar's not responding. You know what I mean? They're like, whatever, we're going to get through this. And it's going to be a less exciting night, but it's going to happen. And like,
that could be the night, dude, where you walk in and how many times has this happened to you, dude? You're not feeling it. There's very few people in the bar, and you make your best friend. You make a fan that is still a fan and a friend 7 years later. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's some
for me, like doing the depot, I've been doing the open mic night at the depot for like 5 years, and
Dude,
like
cheers to that jam night. Cheers to your consistency on that. I see it post up every week, and that's that's part of your legacy, man. Now
what was
that
it?
is now it's just roll that sucker.
Yeah, trying. I don't know now. But I would go. That would be after teaching all day, from like
Oh,
7 in the morning teaching to like 4, and then a nursing home, and then straight to the mic night. So my set would always be like either there or like lagging, and then as soon as someone would come up and jam, there'd be like this breath of like, all right, we're doing this. This is fun now. But it took that like fresh air and like.
yeah.
But I got to this mindset after actually this year with it with a buddy of mine said he had a quote. Another teacher had a quote on the board that said, "Remember where you were when you remember where you were before you wanted to be here," and like that
That's
kind
great.
of yeah. And you're like, oh, I remember when I wanted to be a Mike Knight guy. Now I am a Mike Knight guy. God, yeah, this is sick. And it's just the kind of that gratitude of that where were you before when you wanted to be doing what you're doing now, that now you're tired or whatever, and like it's kind of a go back and self-check type thing.
Well, it's the same thing, man. Like to do this synopsis of the whole.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for it, man.
I hope I can get everything organized the way I want to in time, man. I'm hoping that here's the thing that I realized with that though too. During that, so let's go from Phoenix where I met you. Then it was Full Force Rock Shop in Seven Hills. I did it. I was hosting that by myself. Then it was
Yeah, yeah.
what
Full
O'Malley,
force. Was it?
O'Malley's for that place.
Yeah, with the pool.
Johnny Paul,
Yeah,
R.I.P. And then McCarthy's, and that's McCarthy's once like it's like a game of dice. Like
yeah,
when McCarthy's lined up, okay, we've got 3 owners. One of them is a musician and he plays in a band at the bar. It's a young staff. They're willing to try anything. They're not battle hardened bar warriors where the open mic you only had one person. You know what? We should shut this down. It's the first one. So like when McCarthy's was there, that was like, okay, dude, this is where it really feels. But at that era, I was in dude. I call it warrior mode. Same thing, dude. Like what you're talking about. You get to the jam night. You go to you show up at Ace's Depot. You're driving there. I don't know if you've had this experience mentally, but there are times I teach a lesson in the morning. Then I have to go to Strongsville. I set up all the stuff for the jam night at McCarthy's at 1 p. ish.
yeah,
Drive to Brunswick where I was teaching at Bruno Brothers. Do about 5 hours worth of lessons there. Come back to McCarthy's and host the open mic night. Now I'm, let's say, Mel Mapes. Mel Mapes does not care about everything that we went through before, right? And this, you and I, probably a very small handful of people in this town. It's a unique thing, dude, where you don't stop at open mic host. It's A, B, C, D, and E. Like, and then I have a responsibility, the feeling of responsibility to all of this to keep it going. So, but the behind the scenes of this in the car, I got to be up,
yeah.
right? So you're driving. I remember driving to McCarthy's, right? And dude, for whatever reason that day, the lessons were just exhausting. Nobody did their homework, et cetera, et cetera. I was feeling beat up. Also during the battery years too.
Yeah, when you're road dogging.
My voice coming off of a 4-day freaking Texas tour, trying to, and now we're going in and Mel Mapes or Katie Speckman, first people that come into the jam night, they're up. They got their drinks. And everybody's ready for, and it's probably the same thing at Depot. Everybody's ready for the Ziggy D's jam night, and we got to come in and pretend like none of that happened, and now we're here, right? And our, I guess our investment, my friend, is our soul. I mean, literally, how the investment thing, talking about this, the trail, you leave 10 years of honest, pure, just good-hearted everything to your students, to your whatever, to your jammers, to your fans of Sea Level. You leave that, and sometimes month after month it'll feel like, I don't know if I have much more to give, and you just keep finding it. You keep finding it. You keep finding it. But where that gas tank gets replenished is this stuff starts coming back to you, and it's karma. Yin yang, it comes back in spades. When we first start doing this, and this is for every musician, man, you've got to pay a ton of it forward, though, and you have to just trust that the investment in people's experiences is gonna. You'll receive so much more than you give at some point, but you don't know when that is. That's the problem. We don't know.
For sure.
When that gas tank on the other end is going to fill us back up again. Well, the picks I have saved are not accessible because of a power supply issue with my Bob.
Does he get the song?
I'm gonna call it up on my browser here and see.
Was it? I agree with that, and a lot of like with Mike Night, it's that reward comes from supplying that once a week. That's Mal Mapes' time to get on that mic, and you know what I mean. And you supply that, and like the fact that you can offer that to somebody is more rewarding than some shows, and that's why you can do them every week, and that's why more people get involved. Well, that's the whole thing. I take it back. Once you get people involved into a thing, that's when that thing will start to flourish.
Yep.
So whatever it may be, if it's a show, if it's an art project, if it's a novel, whatever, the more people you get involved, the more heart and soul they put into it with you, and then it becomes a group effort as opposed to a single effort. And I feel like that leads to a more successful event, show, piece, book, whatever, album.
How long? I don't want to run you too much, Dave. I don't know how long is your use. Do you have a format that you usually go as far as your length of time? I don't want to run you.
This has been great, George. We've almost done 2. This is awesome. This is probably the longest podcast I think I've done, and most podcasts go about 2 hours, and
okay. That's cool.
But lately I've been attempting to do 20 minutes with each person, and I was going to no it's good because I've attempted with Gauze group because I wanted to put it on one episode so everyone can promote it. So I would do 20 with Emily, 20 with Brent, and 20 with Jenna, but it didn't pan out like that, and I did an hour with 2. The other person didn't get back. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is. So I'm just putting them out as it is. Everyone's like been giving me the time, so I honor that and put the whole thing out.
Oh, dude,
but before we wrap it, I want you to talk about what you're doing tomorrow with your live stream, because I think that's a really cool way for I was talking with another guy, Ryan Matthew, who's running a Cleveland meal plan. He's a chef, and their kitchen just had their grand opening the week all this went down, and now they're essentially closed. You're still selling food, but they're trying to they're getting all these donations of restaurants that can't sell their food, and they're making meals, and they're dropping them off, and people that are in the service industry or like don't have work can come and get like a meal, like it's like a week's worth of food. And
it's awesome.
I forget why I brought up Ryan, but I had a point to why I brought him up.
Maybe trying to make a parallel between that and
yeah. So we were talking about how important it is to like incorporate the local businesses that are still doing stuff and being aware of that they're still here and they still are doing stuff. Thanos. The snap of Rona. But so what you're doing, I think, really plays into what we were talking about yesterday.
All right, so with the pod or the live stream stuff
with Travis's for tomorrow? What was the name of the venue? The serving food.
Oh, okay. So for so to kind of
Trivs.
no, not Trivs. Trivs
Okay.
on New Jersey. So it's Mutton Jeffs.
Ah.
But I started when I started doing this live stream stuff, I started to think about I want to replace for me just personally it was I need to keep my musical gears lubricated, and I'm not business as usual for me. That was going through my head as soon as I saw that announcement. Business as usual, meaning that I am still going to do my part. It was a 3-hour show. It's a 3-hour show. If it's this, it's this, and then I'm going to adapt it to however the medium says this has to be this. There has to be a change here. So I was supposed to do a jam night on Thursday with Gary Stulak and Felix at Mutton Jeffs, and I started thinking, well, the Zoom thing. I've seen the software. I'm not equipped for any of that, and obviously financially, since all my income came from stuff that's just been cut off.
Yeah, it's hard to invest.
Dude, I'm online buying. I'm looking at all these cool. I'm like, I'm going to buy a Zoom H5, and I'm looking at my bank account. I'm like, how are you going to do? Now
Zoom H mixer.
No, it's just it's a portable audio recorder. The H5, it's got
okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. I got the Zoom L8 thing, and that's been working pretty well. But
I've heard those are good. Yeah,
I invested before all this, not knowing. Anyway, so the Mike Knight, Mutton Jeffs.
Yeah, for your listeners out there, the website it's facebook.com/Furious George Music, and it's a play on Curious George. Just think Angry Monkey and then music after it. Furious. And Dave got me a book that I still have back here, actually, for Furious George. The podcast, I swear, I'm just going to keep.
It's the quarantine brain. We all got it.
The live stream we're doing tonight has to do with me basically detailing, and it's a letter of gratitude, realizing that all of the people and places that I've met, specifically through Cleveland Jam Nights in different incarnations. Sometimes I was the moderator and the host. Sometimes I was the co-host that was brought in here and there. But it's going to be kind of a love letter to, and of course, present company is all over. I'm like, because the way I had to try to organize this, I'm like, okay, here was the venue, here was the owner, here's how it started, here were my co-hosts if I wasn't the main host, and here were the key musicians and friends and fans. Here were some key moments, and I'm going through the whole history and remember that. And I'm like, my God, dude, Dave and I are connected for the first 2/3 of this. It's like Dave Dickey Coda, Dave Dickey Coda, Dave Dickey Coda. And the whole, like, every time I see the sea level thing, I'm like, dude, all of this, it's accidental, dude. That's the thing.
That is mind blowing. All of it. It is crazy. Like, we could have lived this whole life without meeting each other in the same, in the same town, and it is crazy.
And I saw, and I'm going back through all the way to the Phoenix thing, and I'm like, dude, I actually saw the first sea level jam ever, and somebody first time you wrote a jam together, dude. I think I don't know if I have it on my YouTube or my feed. Somebody's got it somewhere, whether it's his mom or somebody. But dude, that video, you know how like you'll watch a live performance and then 10 years later, because of events and things that have passed, it'll become epic for some reason. Like this was this was this, and I'm looking for that video now, going, oh my God, this would be awesome if I could find the video of you guys just jamming and kind of direct people to it. It's like, dude, this for anybody out there, any level didn't come out of here. Furious George, like my repertoire of crazy songs and stuff came from playing in many different bands, and then a lot of the jam nights where you come in and let's say this guy says, well, these are some of the standards we do. Well, I don't do those. Well,
Yeah.
you got to.
Yeah. You come in
Right.
with them next.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, and I'm going to leave it kind of organic. I have a whole outline of things that I want to cover, and I literally invited on Facebook every single person that's part of this. And so far, only 22 people have responded. So I'm thinking it's because this is so new. I'm
Yeah.
thinking people are kind of like, especially a lot of the higher the guy, the elder statesmen, so to speak, of the Cleveland music scene. They're going, what is this now? We're
Yeah.
jamming, or this is just him. I don't want somebody to talk about me. You know what I mean? So I have a feeling that there's a misunderstanding from
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
what this
I
is supposed to.
I think
No.
as soon as you start doing it and people start sharing your live streams like they've been doing and they see what you're doing, it's going to be much more clear. Because visually, anything on social media, if it's not a picture or just like, check this out, if it
Yeah.
involves really like kind of reading a thing, people are like, what is this? So I think as soon as you start doing it, people are going to become hip to it. And like,
I think the live stream will go either way tonight, but my gut, and this is the thing with these live streams, I expect 0 people to tune in, but if you get 5 or 6, what would be really awesome is if we have a bunch of people there that were part of this history and they're able to start sharing their memories, or they start posting pictures, to the event or something. We can all,
that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
the community, people,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And my hope is that I'll be able to kind of get through from then to the present day and have a nice sharing experience. But then I'm guessing that some people tune in and want just music, and they'll hear this guy sitting here and so they'll be, well, okay, this is what I signed up for. So I don't think it's gonna, and I'm kind of marketing it as that. It's not gonna. I'm gonna be playing tunes, but they're gonna be tunes that mean something to me or have a memory associated with that time. So of course we talked about Hey Joe. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, as soon as I thought of the Phoenix dude, I'm like, there's no other song, because
Yeah.
I mean that it got to the point, like, that was Coda's first jam, right?
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah. And he was singing it, I think.
oh my God.
Remember, there was that whole set where he, like, I will occasionally during a set start playing "Sunshine of Your Love," and he gets so mad. He's like, "I hate that song."
Coda.
Yeah, I call Cody and make sure we both tune into it. I know, like,
What I'm hoping for, man, is that it's going to be a slow burn after the fact, because someone that was connected, let's say from the McCarthy's era, or somebody that was connected, say from the Phoenix era, the early stuff, when I start covering it, they'll share it with someone, and then and they'll say, oh, the early part of the video he talks about this, and oh, he mentions you, Mike, and blah blah blah. So I'm hoping this is one of those videos. It's like it gets shared, and the people that are all mentioned in it somehow hear
that they're being,
yes, and thank you, because it's such a disjointed, like, it's a big risk. I mean, big risk for me in a way, because there's so many disjointed factions of musicians and groups that I've been
trailed through, kind of.
Yeah, and the goal with all of that was to be cool with all of them, and to develop a mutual musical language of respect, and hopefully learn something from each other. And I'm looking at this list, I'm like, I can't say that that's not happened with like every single person, dude. Even like some of the fans, Lena Pauley,
Yeah.
when she came out to Doc and Louie's gig. Sometimes you were talking about being part of a community, recognition, right? She comes in, and I remember her taking pictures at some of their gig, and I'm like, hey, Lena Pauley in the house. It was a Doc and Louie's gig, and from that point forward, I think it was just a recognition of, this guy remembers that I took pictures. Sometimes,
Yeah.
us as musicians, we get so caught up, my craft, my world, my song, my gig, my this, my. And it's like, dude, if someone is bobbing the head to your song, you don't know them. It's your job, not theirs, to be like,
How's it going? Thanks for
Yeah.
hanging out. Like,
yeah, break the ice. I'm like, is it too loud over there? I'm causing your head to move. I just want to, like,
is this discomfort?
So, but yeah, that's the idea behind the live stream.
That's going to be awesome. And you were another thing you were saying that if they tune in and drop your name for the one on Saturday at Mutt and Jeff's, they get like a discount or some sort.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do also, because not only my livelihood was affected by all the bars and stuff closing, and that's the first thing we think as musicians. How am I going to support my family? How I was able to support my family is that the venue existed. They hired the staff. They got the booze. They have the great menu, and they have the great atmosphere. And then we are six. Let's bring this guy, right?
Yeah.
So would I have all these relationships and these people without the venues and without the cultures established? So I thought, well, is there a way that I can is there a way I can, bring, even though I'm not playing at the venue, is there a way I can bring it together? So I was talking to the promo girl, Marie, at Fairview, and I'm very good friends with the owner. And I was just spitstorming. I said, what if we do a promotion where during the show, they call in an order, they give a promo code like Furious, and I just threw it out there, Furious. They get a discount or they get something off the order, and then the owner's like, great idea. Let's do $10 gift card if they spend $50 or more in food. So we're not at the Fairview Tavern, but they're ordering tavern food. They're getting a gift certificate saying thank you for ordering here. On top of that, when the venue reopens and the bars have to kind of reestablish themselves and everybody's trying to get back on their feet, there's going to be incentives, hopefully. And I'm doing that with Barley Jacks too, man. I was
nice.
I was trying to. I was texting with Judy, or texting with Jay rather, and he said, let's get a promo going with Judy. And I think we should do that for all artists, whatever we set up.
Yeah.
If you look,
if I can help in with that one, I'll do that one too.
Hell yeah, dude. If you listen in during the Ziggy show between the hours, and it doesn't just have to be the playing hours. The venue can go like all day. If any food order comes in and you order more than $50, mention code Ziggy, you get another way is maybe $5 off 50, $10 off 100, etc. Like a scale thing, but something that a promotion that rewards people. People love free. I mentioned also scratch off gift cards from the gas stations.
Yeah.
But something that's not going to cost the venue money, but that will help support the local businesses that have put food on my table. So that's the Saturday gig, and Fairview Tavern's a big place for me because I've been playing there for a while. And there's a really good fit with my show and what they do, and I've met a lot of good friends and people there. So hopefully, not only will the peeps tune in that are part of our usual experience, but we'll get some awareness of the Fairview Tavern and Mutt and Jeff's. And that what I'm trying to do with every one of my shows is send that show out in tribute to the place I was going to be playing at originally. I don't know how long that's going to go, but it's literally like thanks for the work,
Yeah. For sure. Well, George, I appreciate your time, my friend. This was a great this was a doozy for sure. We definitely if this was the 20-minute thing, we definitely surpassed that. But no, this has been awesome. It's really been good to catch up. And
maybe next time we'll pick like a focus of something, we can however your show rolls, dude.
It's basically we're doing what we're doing. I want to introduce the world to the people I know just by talking and having people be the kind of ear on the wall. And I think we did a really good job of diving head first and showing people who you are. So I really appreciate it, George. And tonight, 7 p.m., the Mike Night Gratitude. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. as well.
Yep.
And sweet. Cool beans. Well, I'll try to get this out ASAP. All right, George.
Dude, keep happy, healthy. Keep me on the alert for what you guys are doing, Sea Level, you, and everything else. Otherwise, podcasts. live shows, brother. Because what I'm trying to do too, on the final note, is anytime that I see Tony Schultz tonight is playing a live from, I think he's starting at 7. It just popped up in my feed.
Yeah.
So Tony Schultz, great, a local musician, great jammer. I think somebody else posted a live show, but I'm trying to, when I post my stuff, to expose people to other musicians. So I'll keep a lookout for yours and Coda's stuff, man. It was.
Yeah, no, I think you've been doing a great job with that too, and so is Dave Lasco, and like a lot of people are being more aware of just the musicians that maybe we weren't always aware about.
Right on, brother. KJ, Christine, first time I ever.
Yeah,
actually,
that was cool,
dude. And what was funny, it was so real because her show, she had you see how she had the camera tilted the
wrong way, yeah.
And so I'm trying to, and then she figured it out, but she's like, does this sound good? Does it? And I'm just looking at this like, this is exactly what we're all going through as musicians. We're all trying to figure this crap out. She's looking, and I thank you. Okay, yeah, and I'm looking at this just like, this is badass. Now, not all of us will fall into a comfort zone with it, but it's just it's awesome on my side when I'm always having to play Friday and Saturday, to not only be able to see one artist, but sometimes 5. John Yonke, I actually saw his show, Freddie Jackson.
Yeah, Freddie had a good setup.
Oh, dude, and he's like, we're worried about it. I'm like, dude, compare his backdrop to mine.
That's man.
It's making me painfully aware, dude, that I'm like, I need to like, my basement is messy.
That's why I did a one on the Sea Level page by myself, and I just put a backdrop up that we've been using for shows. I'm like, cover up the mess. But
that works, brother.
Something. But all right, George, I'm gonna pause this. I'm gonna link everything below.